Hello, Audio Marks, coming to you from the Sachem Public Library. Welcome to the Marks for Life podcast with your hosts, Jimmy and CJ, two casuals turned Marks wrestling fans, to give you a direct line to all things in the squared circle. Enter the ring at your own risk. We pull no punches, we hit hard, and we will slam you with all the info you need to know. So, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? I said! Yes, I am ready, recording of me.
You're such a dork. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Marks for Life podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jimmy.
And I am your pay-per-view predictions champion, CJ.
Oh, you heel. You heel.
I am a dirty heel, but I am a champion nonetheless. Take that, Jimmy.
All right. Just to give you guys some context, this past Sunday was Great Balls of Fire, which we will get into, trust me, which was a fantastic pay-per-view nonetheless. Probably one of the best Raw ones in quite a while.
Probably one of the best Raw ones since the brand split of July 2016. I feel like it has topped it, especially with the marquee matches you had. You had Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman in a hellacious ambulance match. Joe taking Lesnar to the limit in the Universal title
in
clash.
6 minutes.
Was that 6 minutes?
It was like 6 to 8.
It did not feel...
That's including entrances.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. It felt a lot longer than Goldberg clashes, so maybe I just automatically thought, wow, this is like a 10, 12-minute showdown.
Anyway, it was probably one of the better fantastic shows of Raw pay-per-views. But nonetheless, every time we do a pay-per-view, we have a little plastic championship belt. You've probably seen one of us wear it on our various social medias. So now I have to, very sadly, give this one to CJ for this.
Hold on, wait. I got the perfect one for this. Woo! You know that's right, man. Delete. You can't delete this.
Shush.
You can't delete this.
Anyway, first off, we're going to welcome you guys to the show. Just a couple quick podcasting housekeeping things. We're still working on getting on iTunes and Google Play. I just signed us up for Blueberry, which is another hosting site.
Oh, that's all set up?
As far as I know, but I'll definitely ask Chris when we see him next. Chris is our podcast mentor, who's been very helpful for us making this podcast happen each and every week for you guys.
Thank you, Chris. Oh my God. Seriously, thank you to Chris and the Sachem Public Library for all of their help with this. We could not have done this without them. This is very helpful.
On a scale to 1 to 2, what's the possibility of Chris actually listening to this podcast?
I don't know. I don't think we ever really gave it to him, saying, "Hey, you should listen." We should try that one day.
Yeah, we'll definitely ask him next time we see him. But anyway, my friend, I haven't seen you in a long time. We were supposed to. Okay, just a quick little sidetrack. This past Sunday, we always do like a viewing quote unquote party, whether it's just me and him or us and our girlfriends or a whole friend group. But we didn't get a chance to do this time. What happened?
My mom actually really needed me to come to this party. One of her patients was hosting. I can't disclose who it was, but it was actually a famous Hollywood producer and his wife, who was a famous actress who got nominated for an Academy Award actually quite a few years ago. It was out in the Hamptons, Hampton Bays, and...
Oh, fancy CJ going to the Hampton Bays.
Dude, the thing looked like a freaking castle. It was huge. I felt so underclass, but it was such a great thank you from my mom's patients to. It was not just her; it was all of her unit, and it was an excellent house. The cooking was delicious. One of the host's daughters actually cooked everything. Fantastic. I think she was like she took a couple of chef classes at I don't remember the school, but I remember it was a fancy school. But it was good. It was good food and stuff. I still got back in time. I was able to catch live the most important parts of the pay-per-view and stuff. But it was a nice time. They actually had a beach property on top of having a pool. So that shows
that's Rich Hamptons speak right there. We're just simpleton, middle of the island, Long Islanders.
Dude, my idea of a fancy meal is still Taco Bell and not ordering off the dollar menu.
Oh yeah. I know exactly what you mean by that.
Oh my
What
god.
what a crazy week, man.
Oh. And just a shout out to everyone. Watch War of the Planet of the Apes. I just came back from a triple feature this past Wednesday night, and it was so good. It was 7.5 hours, bear in mind, of me sitting in a theater, but it was so worth it.
What time did you get to the theater, by the way?
4:00.
Wait, you were at the theater at 4:00?
Till about 11:36.
Dude, okay, so we have our friend group, and it was me and my girlfriend Rena and our friend Kyle and Emmy, and we went to see Spider-Man around the same time.
When?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, what time?
It was about 4:00.
Oh, we must have just missed each other.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, man. Yo, hey, man, you didn't tell me.
Well, I mean, I did tell you that we were planning to see a movie like at some point with Kyle and Emmy. So
no, you just said, hey, we're just gonna try and get together and stuff. I was like, oh, that's great. You guys should do that.
Dork.
Yo,
whatever.
Shut up.
Anyway,
how was your week though? How was Spider-Man?
It was good. Movie was pretty solid. I thought it was probably the best, one of the better Spider-Man movies besides the Sam Raimi ones. To be honest, I thought it was really good.
Who's Sam Raimi?
Sam Raimi, the director who made the original Spider-Man movies.
Oh, so the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man.
Yes.
Okay, you got to say that for all of the people.
It's the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies that were great, and this one follows it up just as good, if not slightly better.
And for all those who don't know who Sam Raimi is, I understood it as Tobey Maguire Spider-Man's.
But basically. Anyway, we saw it. It was really good. Then before that, we went to Slurp.
Oh, okay.
Slurp is a fresh ramen place out in Port Jeff Village. It's very, very delicious.
So
place.
good.
Had the pork bun that you recommended. Oh my god, that thing was spicy and it was delicious.
I told you, and it's cheap. It's cheap,
Well, I mean, the whole meal, including hers and our drinks, that was $30. That's not cheap.
It's for good food like that? Oh.
For good food, yeah, it was definitely worth it.
And then for refills, it's like $1.
What?
There's a thing where if you get the soup and you put like ramen noodle soup, like if you run out of noodles and you want more noodles, you can refill it for $1, and you can use that to take it home.
I'm gonna remember that for next time because you just blew my mind, my friend. You just blew my mind.
Speaking of blowing minds, we got to talk about the pay-per-view and this past Raw. Oh my god.
It was crazy. Do you want to start with the pay-per-view or do you want to do like a quick news recap? Because this week was crazy with news.
I think we can get to the news later on in the show, everything that's been going on, but we can tie it in. I think the first thing we should talk about is the effects of Great Balls of Fire into the Raw pay-per-view. Now, let me go over what...
Into the Raw pay-per-view? It is the Raw pay-per-view.
I'm sorry. The Raw television show. This is actually the first time I ever watched the full 3 hours. It was god-awful. I'm never doing that again.
Now you know my pain.
That's Hulu.
Although you turned me onto Hulu, though. That is such a miracle machine right there.
Right? So, let's recap on the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view event. Neville defeats Akira Tozawa for the Cruiserweight Championship following a rope low blow. Enzo Amore is defeated by Big Cass.
Just to stop you to go back to the Cruiserweight match. It was all right. I thought their match on Raw that they had later was a lot better.
Tozawa's not doing it for me anymore. I don't know. Just seeing the Cruiserweights on the Raw show, it just doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I know. And at some point on a future podcast, we will talk about the Cruiserweights.
We have to.
We've been trying to organize it so much, but just the way that we're trying to organize like topics to talk about the week, they change on the dime. Like this one changed dramatically over the dime because last week we had planned out a very special one, and now we couldn't do it because of what just happened this past week.
But we will get to that. I hope you guys are all on the edge of your seats. So, Big Cass defeats Enzo Amore, squashes him. It did good for story purposes, in my opinion.
Can we just stop for a moment and we gotta appreciate some of the editing work. Well, not the editing, but the camera work that was going on. Just for pure giggles, when Big Cass was like right at the ring ramp and the camera was facing right at him with the Titantron in the back of him. It didn't say Big Cass behind him. It said Big Ass.
Yes.
If you noticed that.
I did not, but that is perfect because he is the castle.
And it was meme-ified throughout all of Facebook and Twitter, and it was amazing.
That's insanity. Next, Bray Wyatt actually gets a pinfall victory over Seth Rollins. So happy I was wrong with that prediction.
I know, so was I. I was like, oh god, another Bray Wyatt defeat, and we're all gonna cry.
No,
yeah, what we thought was gonna happen.
I think that feud's done. Seth Rollins and Bray Wyatt now.
I think it is too, especially with what happened at Raw the next day when they had basically another rematch, basically at the main event of Raw, and
Bray Wyatt beat him clean.
Yeah, he beat him clean on Raw. It was like a double victory for Bray. That's never happened before in Bray Wyatt's career at large.
Elimination Chamber.
Well, a little different, and it did not yield to the results that we would have wanted.
I know, but still. Just a bold prediction with this. Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and The Miz for the Intercontinental Championship at SummerSlam triple threat. That's what I'm betting my money on right now, between all three of their interactions.
Are you sure? Because let's just skip to the Intercontinental Championship match really quickly.
The Miz defeats Dean Ambrose. Told you for the Intercontinental.
I mean, it was hard to see, but I mean, it was a good match. I really enjoyed it. And I'm really happy that The Miz won.
I hope that I'm glad that they're throwing Seth Rollins into this feud because they need to change this. They've been doing Miz, Dean Ambrose for like the entire 2017. Well, yeah,
but now that seems like they're going to be doing a team kind of thing. Is there a possibility that we're going to see a Shield reunion?
No, I don't think so. Not where this is going, which we will get to with Raw. Alexa Bliss defeats... Sasha Banks defeats Alexa Bliss by countout.
Yes. And may I just admire the fact that both of them did fantastic selling?
That was good.
The arm break again
Alexa Bliss
was incredible. And then the back thing that Sasha did was phenomenal. It was great. Like, just some of the best selling. And I was like, oh my God, is this really what's happening? And then like, nope, that didn't. And it fooled me. They got me.
Oh my God.
They got the mark.
They did get the mark. Let's see. You won this one, Jimmy. Sheamus and Cesaro defeat the Hardy Boys for the Raw Tag Team Championships and the 30-minute Iron Minute match. Did you think that you were going to be wrong in that prediction towards the end of the match?
Towards the end? No. I knew that as soon as they got the first pinfall, I'm like, oh my God, they're definitely going to win.
I don't know.
I knew that off the bat.
They did very well, though, to make people think that the Hardys could...
Arguably, match of the night? I would say it was match of the night. Like, as much as I enjoyed the Roman Strowman fight, and I would qualify that as a fight, not a wrestling match. But as a match itself, the tag team match was by far match of the night.
This match actually segues into one of our first topics, our first discussions, which is the Broken Hardys. Now... Oh, yes.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, we'll save that one.
Now, after Sheamus and Cesaro defeated the Hardy Boys for the Raw Tag Team titles to retain them, the Hardy Boys, they lost 4-3 within seconds. And if they had just 5 more seconds, they would have tied up the score. Now, on the following night on Raw, they lost to Gallows and Anderson, but they showed huge signs of the broken gimmick they saw in Impact Wrestling.
Yeah, I know. It was really shocking. It also like reflected that I think the lawsuit is going their way in this sense, especially with what's going on with Impact right now. I think that Impact needs to let the Broken Universe go and really focus on them.
Yeah, I think they need to distance themselves from this kind of stuff.
Yeah, they need to get this one out of the way because they got to focus on so much. I don't even know what to call it anymore at this point, and that's a whole separate thing that we're going to get into later today.
But the amount of times Matt Hardy spoke as Broken Matt Hardy. He did like his regular spiel and like regular talk, and then you got a little bit of the brokenness when he said a little broken and that weird accent that he does. He said delete, he said magnificent. He used a lot of the mannerisms that you would see with Broken Matt Hardy. And then even Jeff Hardy, he displayed signs of Brother Nero by talking about not being obsolete, you know.
And it was such a great callback to those good times that I hope to see in WWE at some point.
I think the Revival is going to bring that out of him. And I remember I said this last week that I figured the Hardy Boys would get the Raw Tag titles and then lose it to the Revival. Now the Revival can break the Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys can... And then you can even go off the fact that the Hardys could disappear for maybe a month or two, slowly start reverting back to the Broken gimmick through vignettes, and then attack the Revival.
Yeah, I would enjoy the crap out of that.
Because the Revival just dismantled the Hardy Boys after their loss to Gallows and Anderson.
Well, Gallows and Anderson also stepped it up by a lot. Like, yeah, they've been kind of a dull like team as a whole, but like they stepped it up too. So it kind of begs the question of what the tag team division is going to look like. The tag team match that's going to end up being at SummerSlam.
Is it going to be another Cesaro Sheamus versus?
No, I think it's probably going to be like another fatal 4-way tag team match, in my opinion.
I don't know how to feel about that. I would rather
let's see what happens.
What about
because there's like a good 4 weeks, which is about a month span. We'll see what happens on this next coming up week on Raw.
It's about 2 months.
It's about 2 months. Really? It's in August.
End of August. August 22nd, 23rd.
Yeah, so if it happens this week, then they give about 4 weeks off with probably some vignettes mixed in there, and they come back the Raw before SummerSlam as the Broken Universe. Let's say if that happens.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Then they would be in that fatal 4-way for that, and it would be to see the Broken Universe and hear from Matt Hardy. Just keep hearing that.
I want to see Vanguard 1 personally.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I want to see Senor Benjamin. I miss that guy.
I miss King Maxwell. I want to see King Maxwell versus James Ellsworth.
and then you have the referee, Senor Benjamin, just tase him and then just give the count out. And then King Maxwell have already been undefeated, and he's not even 5 yet.
Yes, but speaking of a little bit of an extreme, we got to talk about the Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns debacle, as well as Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe. We had to talk about those two first before segueing into our second topic, I feel like.
Yeah, absolutely. But would you call it a debacle? I would call it just a straight up, murder scene.
Yeah. I was trying to actually keep it calm, but yeah, it was.
No, it was murder. No,
attempted.
Roman Reigns murdered Braun Strowman.
No, he didn't murder Braun Strowman.
He was close. He was close.
Tried. You cannot murder the monster among men.
He was pretty damn close.
He was close. So pretty much, Braun Strowman outsmarts Roman Reigns.
Well, I think let's backtrack a little bit into the match. So they have the match.
Ambulance match.
They have an ambulance match, which is basically get your opponent inside the ambulance to win.
Yes.
And during the match, there's a lot of really good spots, a lot of back and forth. There's one spot that I really want to talk about where Roman hits Braun with the chair, and then Braun just goes, not even nothing.
Braun Strowman no-sells, and I feel like no one else can no-sell like him in the WWE currently. The last time we've seen no-selling that good was early Undertaker and early Kane.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Braun Strowman is well on his way to making his mark if booked correctly, and right now he's being booked perfected.
I think now at this point he's definitely in the main event because in the main event scene as a whole.
Yes.
Like the way that he was being propped up for literally a year was basically mid-card or like regular big feuds with like Roman or something like that. And they were booked phenomenally. Like a year ago, we would not be saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now, we're getting to this is interesting.
This is good.
A year goes by and we're like, yes, we want him to be our champion right now because that's what we want.
I'd rather the payoff. I'd rather wait longer to see him rack up more wins, become more convincing, get him more over with the crowd. Because you have such a potential breakout star, the likes you haven't seen in so many years with Braun Strowman, with this monster. And the fact that if you wait for this payoff, imagine it at WrestleMania, but I'll go into that in a little bit.
Yeah, here's my thing about that. Just I have a question and be like, have we has Vince officially given up on the Roman project?
I think the definition of a heel today is different than a heel.
No, I agree with that, but what I mean is getting him over because I already Braun took a full year of being straight heel to be incredibly over. He's so incredibly over right now.
Depends on what you mean by over. Roman Reigns is over. I know that's not going to agree with a lot of our viewers right now, but he is over. And I'm not saying positively. I'm saying negatively. He is the biggest.
I don't know about the biggest heel. I think that there's a bigger heel than him. And I would say he's a bigger heel.
No.
I would say he's a bigger heel.
Roman Reigns literally brags about retiring the Undertaker at WrestleMania.
I know, but he's still being propped up as like a babyface, so I don't qualify him as like a proper heel. Cass has the heel heat and is being booked properly as a heel, and that's what I mean by that.
Okay, Roman Reigns is being booked as a heel. You know why? Because he was a sore loser. After the ambulance match, which Braun Strowman won because Roman Reigns went for a spear, Braun Strowman sidestepped, and then Roman Reigns launched himself into the ambulance. Then afterwards, Roman Reigns then speared Braun Strowman after losing the match, drives him in the ambulance, and then backs him up into a the ambulance into the semi with Braun Strowman in the back. He legitimately tries to kill Braun Strowman, only for Braun Strowman to walk out after the doors being opened by the Jaws of Life with the medical crew, and Braun Strowman walks out on his own, bloodied and battered. Roman Reigns is the definition of a modern-day heel.
Yeah, okay.
You want to know why? Because he's still continuously being pushed. He's still being pushed despite fan backlash. And that's the best way to get someone over as a heel now is, to go against the fans.
Yes. Yeah, okay. I can see your point at this. Yeah, I can see your point.
And Braun Strowman, this is probably the closest we will get to a double turn. This is fantastic right now. Braun Strowman is literally, probably figuratively and literally, the biggest babyface they have on the roster. Literally.
Yeah, I know. That's why I love it so much.
But we will have to go into the repercussions of Roman Reigns after trying to murder Braun Strowman after we get into the Brock Lesnar Samoa Joe thing. Now,
well, during the whole Braun Strowman getting like propped open with the Jaws of Life, there was a Heath Slater.
Do we have to talk about Heath Slater and
Kurt Hawkins?
Kurt Hawkins. I'm sorry.
Well, he's our Long Island boy. We gotta respect that.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Anyway, but that was like going on in the match. So like through the spectacles of like viewing it at home, it's like, oh wow, like this is actually kind of quote unquote serious because it's wrestling and this is serious.
Braun Strowman is a monster, but he wasn't the only monster that night.
No, he was not. Then we go right into the Samoa Joe Brock Lesnar match, which was booked pretty well.
Oh my God, Samoa Joe took it to Lesnar.
You lucked out on that. Lucked out on that.
Did. I would have been happy if I lost.
Yeah,
because here's the thing, audio marks. So we had 3 things where we disagreed on. We had the Sheamus versus Hardy Boys match. We had the Miz versus Dean Ambrose match, and then the Brock Lesnar Samoa Joe. Jimmy, for the Great Balls of Fire pay-per-view, had picked Dean Ambrose, Cesaro and Sheamus, and Samoa Joe as his 3 picks. My 3 picks were
the exact opposite.
The Miz, Hardy Boys, and Brock Lesnar. Now, it was 1-1 that night until Brock Lesnar, Samoa Joe. And I agree that I lucked out with that, but that was an amazing match. Samoa Joe killed it. He was amazing in that match.
Yeah, absolutely. There were points in the thing like, oh my God, like he's going to choke out Brock Lesnar. And by God, thank you, Brock Lesnar, for doing the whole selling with your face and the redness. And I don't know how you do it so well, but you do it fantastically.
I haven't enjoyed a Brock Lesnar match since he versus The Undertaker in Hell in a Cell in 2015. CM Punk against CM Punk in 2013.
You did not like, okay, we get it. You didn't like any of the Goldberg stuff.
No, I didn't.
WrestleMania match was pretty good, and that moment at Survivor Series was amazing. You can't deny that.
I'm gonna deny it.
You're such a mark.
Brock Lesnar put over Samoa Joe without having to put over Samoa Joe.
Yeah, I know, and that I think it's definitely solidified as Samoa Joe being like, yeah, he's staying in the heavyweight division. He's staying in the main event scene.
Yes.
Like, for this time going forward, because there's no way he's going to the mid-card.
He took advantage of Brock Lesnar while Brock Lesnar's back was turned. He put him through a table literally within the first minute of them being in the ring together.
Not even the match starting.
And then he proceeds to choke him out, beat him down. You can make the argument that Goldberg was the only one that had Brock Lesnar's number. Psh. Dude. Goldberg had Brock Lesnar's phone number. Samoa Joe had his social security.
I love that analogy. That was great.
Thank you. I just came up with it. Samoa Joe had his Social Security. He had everything to a T. And then now we're going to get into the Raw thing. The second Raw topic we want to talk about. Now, the next night on Raw, Kurt Angle goes out to congratulate Brock Lesnar and then discuss SummerSlam opponents. Roman Reigns comes out saying that he is the number one contender, even though he tried to murder a guy the night before.
Well, he already claimed it like a week or two before that, and then attempted murder to Braun Strowman.
And then Samoa Joe comes out making the argument, and he says it perfectly, which is also something I agree with because this applies to me. Brock Lesnar did not win as so much as escape Samoa Joe, just like me. I did not win this pay-per-view predictions champion so much as I escaped with the pay-per-view predictions championship.
You dirty heel.
Yes. But here's the thing. He's so right with that. Brock Lesnar barely got any offense in. And you can make that argument that Samoa Joe is the next logical contender, especially with Roman Reigns, losing the Braun Strowman ambulance match and then trying to murder Braun Strowman in said ambulance.
Yeah, there's a case to be made, and we'll find out next week because Kurt Angle made the announcement that there will be a number one contender match between Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe to face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam.
What was your thoughts during that whole segment?
Well, first off, I thought that a fight was definitely going to break out because Brock Lesnar was ready to rip some ASS. That's right in that ring.
Specifically Samoa Joe's.
Oh, yeah, specifically Samoa Joe's. Because you just see Roman Reigns just in the corner, just, blank face, just...
What do I do?
Exactly. But not even like, what do you do, like, confused, but like, just smirking, being all, I'm still the big dog, woof, woof, and all that stuff. But
yes. Samoa Joe's Godzilla.
Yes. Here's my question, though. Do you think that it's going to be a one-on-one for the Universal Championship at SummerSlam? Okay, why?
My thoughts is that Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns are going to have a hellacious Samoan fight next week.
Okay.
Braun Strowman's going to return.
Okay.
Superhuman as always, more superhuman than Cena, and then demolish both of them, declare his intentions for the Universal Championship, and it's going to be a fatal four-way between the four.
So good.
That is the best way to do it.
Yeah, I could see that, yeah. I know, I'm still hoping out that there will be a Shield reunion at SummerSlam. They've put hints out there because at the very last segment, we kind of already discussed this with the whole Seth Rollins
and the
Miz and stuff like that.
Dean Ambrose.
I still think that it's going to be Miz Taraj versus the Shield. I feel like that's still a possibility that's in there.
No.
But we'll find out because there's still like, how many weeks to SummerSlam?
7, 6, something like that. It's more than a month. We have about a month and a half away till SummerSlam. But I'm going to throw out my prediction. If it is correct, if we do have a Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship, I'm going to call it right now that it is going to be Samoa Joe choking out Roman Reigns to defeat and win the Universal Championship.
Wow.
If we get that fatal four-way.
Okay, so that's if it's the fatal four-way.
Yes.
What happens if it's the triple threat?
If it's just a triple threat?
Let's see if it's a triple threat first, and then I'll
Same
throw
scenario.
Okay.
Samoa Joe chokes out Roman Reigns.
And if it's a singles match between Samoa Joe and Brock Lesnar?
Samoa Joe has to win.
Okay, and then it's Roman?
I would have to say Brock Lesnar.
All right. Okay, that seems pretty fair and logical in that.
Just to let our viewers know that Brock Lesnar is signed on for 3 consecutive pay-per-views.
Consecutive?
Great Balls of Fire, SummerSlam, and then the following Raw pay-per-view he's being signed for.
Do we know yet what that is yet? Or
I believe it's No Mercy.
For Raw?
For Raw.
Really?
Yes.
Isn't No Mercy SmackDown though? Only?
It was originally SmackDown for the brand split, but I think it's going to be No Mercy. Do not quote me on it. This is just something I read up and it's rumored. But if that's the case, if Brock Lesnar is being signed on for a third match, it is possible he's going to drop the title at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I would personally rather see that. Just I'm not saying that I'm sick of Brock Lesnar, but the Universal Championship needs a permanent home. It needs to be seen week to week, or at least week by week, like every other week or so.
Yes.
Because I'm tired of it only being like one pay-per-view after the other pay-per-view and then the other pay-per-view, and it's just.
I'm surprised you haven't asked me why I'm thinking Samoa Joe's gonna win. This is the longest you've gone without questioning.
No, because I want Samoa Joe to win, but seeing that you're being nosy about it, sure. Why do you think Samoa Joe is going to win?
Here's the thing. You want to know why I think Samoa Joe's going to win against Roman Reigns? This is the correct question.
Okay, that's the correct question.
Now imagine this. Braun Strowman takes out both Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Okay.
He goes to pin Roman Reigns.
Uh-huh.
But then Samoa Joe pulls what he did at Extreme Rules, gets Braun Strowman out of the ring, and then chokes out Roman.
All right, that's a possibility.
This way, Braun Strowman still maintains what he has. Brock Lesnar can claim that he was never pinned or submitted for the title, and Roman Reigns can say, "You were a scavenger. You didn't physically beat me. You had to have two other guys beat me before you picked up the scraps."
All right, I could see. Yeah, logically that makes sense. I can agree with that.
So I feel like Samoa Joe would be the logical choice, and it would be probably one of the best choices because he had his first wrestling special there, WWE special there, NXT Takeover Brooklyn a couple years ago. He entered last year as NXT champion in NXT Takeover 2. And the crowd would get very pumped to see Roman Reigns lose against an internet darling, an
indie darling, not an internet darling.
Both.
Well,
okay, indie darling like Samoa Joe. And I feel like the payoff with Braun Strowman should wait until WrestleMania after he wins the Royal Rumble.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. All right. We're going to move on to our very last topic for Raw, which is who's Kurt Angle talking to at this point?
My bet?
Well, hold on. Let's set up the moment because we didn't really talk about this throughout the entire week.
No, we did not.
Well, did we briefly talk about it with the Enzo Cass thing?
We briefly talked about it, but we didn't want to touch upon it because Enzo and Cass was such a bigger story and a more prevalent story. The Kurt Angle storyline was being hidden in the back.
All right,
so we didn't know much about it.
Okay, so just to recap for the marks out there, it's basically Kurt Angle has been getting these text messages, and Corey Graves is in on it as well. You've seen him probably on Raw, like leave the announce booth to just move over and everything to talk to Kurt and see how everything's going with his situation with the person that's texting. And it seems to allude that this person's got either dirt or...
He said, "I love you."
Well, yeah, that was this recent one, which is what took me off balance, because it seemed like more dirt than anything.
Yes.
Like in the weeks prior to this.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question to you then, my friend, because I feel like you already know what I'm about to ask you. Who do you believe it is? Or
who's on the phone or who's blackmailing him?
You think it's two different people?
Yes.
Okay, so who do you think is calling him?
Like blackmailing?
No, not blackmail. We'll do the blackmail one in a second.
Okay.
But who's the one that he called that said "I love you" to?
I'm gonna throw out Dixie Carter.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. I was about to say the same thing, and I thought you were gonna be like, no.
No, I think it would be Dixie Carter. It makes sense for a couple of reasons. One, next week they're gonna be in Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh wow. Oh good. Wow. Totally forgot about that one. That took me off surprise.
Kurt Angle had a WWE 24 special that night where Dixie Carter made an appearance.
And was called former TNA President Dixie Carter.
Yes.
For the past, I don't know how many years I've watched either one, never would have thought that would happen in a million years. But I guess in the world where AJ Styles was WWE Champion and Brock Lesnar versus Samoa Joe is a match,
yes,
anything could happen.
Yes.
So, I want to believe it is Dixie Carter. I have a feeling it's not.
Why do you think not?
I have two other theories that's not including Dixie Carter.
Okay.
And one's the obvious one, which is something that we kind of don't want, and that's Stephanie McMahon.
That said, "I love you."
Yes, there's a possibility that could happen.
Okay.
But again, I am speaking a little bit for you, but I have a feeling that you don't want that either. Is that correct?
I don't want him to say "I love you."
But do you want Stephanie McMahon back in wrestling right now?
With only one scenario I could think of.
Okay, I'll ask you that before I give you my second pick. What scenario would that be?
Kurt Angle, Dixie Carter takeover of Monday Night Raw.
Like a proper invasion, except this time instead of WCW, it's TNA.
And then Triple H and Stephanie McMahon become the faces they deserve to be.
Deserve to be.
Yes, with all of their charity work they've been doing, with all of the media attention, with everything that Triple H has been doing with NXT and the promotions that Stephanie McMahon has been doing with women's wrestlers as of the past couple of years, they deserve to be the face.
Okay, all right. I can see that, yeah.
They deserve it.
All right. Here's my second thing that would be interesting, but it would also kind of bring back Stephanie and Triple H as the heels, though, in this situation.
Okay.
And it would be Vicky Guerrero.
I did hear a rumor about that, but why? Where would Vicky Guerrero and Kurt Angle make sense?
Well, I mean, they did have him and Eddie Guerrero did have a match at WrestleMania 20.
That's the only connection, though.
Yeah, but he was part of the SmackDown 6 with Eddie.
He was. I don't know. That's a long shot argument.
Yeah, it is a long shot argument, but they could build really good story around it. And to be honest, I think we're missing that. I think we're all missing Vicky. I miss Vicky a lot.
I haven't thought about her since you brought her up.
Oh, stop!
I'm serious.
Stop. You liked Vicky.
The only reason why I would ever like to see Vicky again is to see her take over Raw and Paul Heyman take over SmackDown and have brand wars and have them do promo work against one another.
Vicky Guerrero
as the general manager of Raw, Paul Heyman the general manager of SmackDown, and then
that's not gonna happen though.
I know, so that therefore I don't miss Vicky Guerrero.
All right. But that is a possibility that could be Vicky Guerrero.
No.
Now, which one would I like to see? I would like to see Dixie Carter because that just seems really interesting.
Yes.
But I also feel like, how are any of the casual fans of WWE gonna know Dixie?
Here's the thing. Casual fans may know of TNA.
Maybe.
They may know of the original TNA back from when they were on Spike till about 2014.
That is true. But she wasn't really a prevalent character on TNA between either that time and even before that or even after the fact when they weren't on Spike. So
they might know her then from WWE 24 special and stuff. He could introduce her and stuff. Oh, this was a former boss. This was my former employer.
Oh, no. And okay, what are the likeliness chances they're going to name drop TNA on Raw next week?
I don't want to bet that.
Do you not want to bet it because you don't want it to happen or that it's definitely going to happen? Because I would love it if it happened.
I just don't want to.
TNA basically doesn't exist anymore.
I am broke. I don't want them. Actually, yeah, they could name drop TNA because it's technically GFW now.
They could, yeah.
GFW is the promotion that Jeff Jarrett created after he bought TNA from Dixie Carter. Anthem. I'm sorry.
That's a whole other.
That's a
whole other topic that we can't even get into.
Yes,
today.
But TNA turned into GFW, so technically the TNA license you could name drop TNA.
Well, I don't think there was ever a problem with name dropping TNA. Well, I mean, there was, but there wasn't like a legal issue with that because they name dropped Ring of Honor and New Japan.
And here's the thing: TNA name drops WWE all the time now. They'll mention WWE accomplishments now.
Yeah, that's true too.
So maybe they're in a better relationship. But I personally would like to see Dixie Carter. I would like to see that to be Dixie Carter.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. All right.
Who do you think's blackmailing?
Oof. That's tough to say. I would say it was Stephanie because of the heel thing.
Logically.
But logically, that's where it follows, and I can't really think of anybody else. But what about you?
Logically, Stephanie McMahon, Triple H say they're trying to protect their company from outsiders, and then that could be Kurt Angle and Dixie, and then they can have their own little thing going on where they're recruiting former TNA employed wrestlers. My personal pick, I would love so much to see this, is Corey Graves. I would love it to be Corey Graves and then have him try and make a move to get the Raw general manager position.
I'm not going to lie, that would be really interesting.
That would be great for Corey Graves' character development because he's supposed to be the unlikable journalist. He's supposed to be that unlikable guy.
But he's really likable, though. That's really the problem. So hopefully this makes it so that he's not as likable.
If it's to be the Dixie Carter thing, and they're supposed to be like, trying to do a takeover. I would like Corey Graves to do it as a face, because he then revealed the whole Big Cass Enzo storyline, revealing that Big Cass attacked Enzo, and he was a face for that. And he could be the same face exposing this dirt that his hero, Kurt Angle, is trying to sell out Raw to Dixie Carter.
All right, I could definitely see that coming.
Or if it's a heel, Kurt Angle's trying to get Dixie a job, trying to get Dixie in with WWE. And Kurt Angle and then you could just have Corey Graves being
I'm having bad Impact Wrestling flashbacks at the moment right now, ladies and gentlemen.
But just...
Yeah, I'm listening.
There's so many ways you can go with this.
Yeah, I know. And unfortunately, you're taking a lot of time, my friend. And I know that you're marking out at the moment, but we're gonna kick it to a commercial right now, and then we're gonna go right into SmackDown and NXT. We're back.
Woo!
Such a dork. Anyway, unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch SmackDown this week. So, buddy, what went on? Really? It was that bad?
No, I'm just booing you for not watching SmackDown.
Anyway, what's going on with SmackDown, my friend?
SmackDown has been interesting. First off, congratulations to the new United States champion, AJ Styles.
That happened, what, right before Great Balls of Fire?
It happened the Friday before Great Balls of Fire at the MSG event, which I'm upset because I wanted to go to that event and I was close to doing it, but I didn't because I went to the Nassau Coliseum event, the first Raw event for that, the Superstar Shakeup, and I missed it. I missed the title change, and I am very upset about that.
I mean, you can only do a couple of wrestling events a year. You can't do all of them, my friend.
I could try.
Oh, yeah, we all could try it. That's why we're marks. Anyway, that was one of the big takeaways. But what happened specifically on SmackDown, though?
So, specifically on SmackDown, one of the things I wanted to, I believe we should talk about is the fact that I bring up AJ Styles being the United States champion because what is this going to do for SmackDown? AJ Styles came out on SmackDown and literally said there was something done a couple of years back with this championship where the champion would call out any and all wrestlers to challenge for this title. And I feel like we should bring it back. So, I'm going to issue an open challenge for the United States Championship. And you know who comes out?
Who, my friend?
John Cena. John Cena.
That wasn't just an obvious thing just to guess at that. But still, that's incredible.
And then Kevin Owens has to be a heel. Big heel, because here's what happens. They're actually ready to do the ring announcements, the ring introductions and everything. This match is for the United States Championship. And then you hear Kevin Owens. That's how much they played into the crowd. Now, with AJ Styles being the United States Champion, where do you see this going for him and Kevin Owens going forward? Because that's the biggest thing I want. That's one of the biggest things we should talk about.
I don't see Kevin Owens challenging for the title on SmackDown. I don't see that happening.
It was already made official that he's challenging, getting his rematch clause at Backlash.
Yeah, I know, but even if he loses and then there's another open challenge, I just don't see that happening again.
Mm-hmm.
So most likely what I think is going to happen is that they're going to have a match at SummerSlam. AJ wins.
Kevin Owens is going to win?
No, AJ is going to win.
Against Kevin Owens?
Yes, against Kevin Owens. And then the next night on SmackDown, then he's going to open another U.S. challenge. And in my opinion, because of what else is going to happen at SummerSlam with another SmackDown feud that will probably go on, or another what is it? Well, not during SummerSlam, but the pay-per-view before that at Battleground.
Yes.
that Rusev will challenge AJ Styles at the following one and then lose that title to AJ then.
Mm-hmm.
That's my personal get back to it. But I believe that's going to be a build-up for open challenge for the next several weeks leading up to SummerSlam.
I feel like AJ Styles should do what John Cena did.
Yeah, no, he is doing that. I'm just saying it's going to be a short standard of it. And then
Do you think
because then Rusev and AJ Styles are going to feud.
Do you feel like that would be good for the United States Championship?
What, between a back and forth between Rusev and AJ Styles? Yeah. Yes.
Do you think that'd be good for the prestige?
What? How do you mean?
I have a difference of opinion with that. I feel like AJ Styles should hold on to it for a lengthy period of time.
How long?
I feel like he should hold on to it for a while, especially if he's not going to be challenging for the WWE title.
All right.
I feel like him having it there, if he has open challenges every single week, SmackDown's guaranteed not only to have phenomenal matches, but fantastic ratings then with that. Title defense every single week with AJ Styles.
All right, yeah, I can see that.
Imagine the matches he can have.
Yeah, he could have... Yeah, okay, I see where you're going with this.
Watch this. Neville comes out to challenge the United States Championship against AJ Styles because 205 Live happens right after SmackDown. So he's already going to be there. Imagine that. He just comes out being like, I want a challenge for the United States Championship.
Or he does that, or he has a match at the main event of SmackDown. Then Neville comes out, challenges him at 205 Live. So you see AJ Styles versus Neville on 205 Live, making it another challenge that you have to watch on 205 Live.
Now, see, how many of that can you do with Rusev as champion?
Well, no, I don't want him to. No, so I see your point on that. I see your point, but I'm saying for a story purpose for building both Rusev and AJ, because I think that they can work together very well.
I agree they should feud. I just do not agree that AJ should drop the title to Rusev.
Well, I think that's going to happen after SummerSlam, not like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like those matches that we were just talking about are going to happen between now and the SmackDown before SummerSlam, and then the SmackDown after SummerSlam is when he faces Rusev.
Now, we're talking a lot about what happened with AJ Styles, what could happen with AJ Styles given the open challenges. What's going to happen with Kevin Owens? Do you think he's going to move up to the WWE title picture?
I would like that. I don't know. Because I feel like there needs to be another... I feel like then Jinder would have to turn... And I don't know.
Or Jinder would have to drop the title.
But I don't know, like, against John Cena.
Yes.
And then John Cena versus Kevin Owens for the WWE title.
Yes.
Is that okay?
I could see that happening. John Cena come up for a couple months and then have him put over Kevin Owens and stuff. Because we believe that this might be John Cena's last year, or maybe last year or two.
Yeah, definitely 2 for me.
He's definitely winding down, and I feel like something great that could happen would be Kevin Owens, defeating him for the WWE title.
Yeah, okay, I could see that happening.
But it makes total sense to have John Cena feud with Jinder Mahal, which I know we haven't talked about Jinder Mahal this entire time we've been doing podcasts. He's not doing it for me anymore.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. The modern day Maharaja.
Or maybe it's just his feud with Randy Orton.
I think it's the feud with Randy, and I really think they just don't have chemistry, and it's because Randy is not a natural babyface.
Yes.
That's what really, because I knew like right off the bat that when it was going to come between Jinder and Randy and Jinder had the title, I knew that it was not going to work well.
Wait, what if Kevin Owens turns face?
Ooh.
And his new face...
That's how I feel about it.
And then, should Jinder Mahal defeat John Cena at SummerSlam, have Kevin Owens come out, be like, I am the new face of America, and you cannot disrespect America like that.
Yeah, I like that.
That would be interesting.
That would be good.
Okay, so the problem is Randy Orton. It's not Jinder.
Yeah, it's definitely Randy, not Jinder. That's really basically what we're saying. But
Jinder is improving. It's just, I don't know. I think it's just this feud.
It feels like 2 heels, and one of the heels is like going against the natural grain of being a heel, and it's just not good.
Just because Jinder Mahal's presentation of everything is also really good too. The way he comes out like
a Maharaja.
Is it bad that I was actually about to say he had the scarf over his mouth and stuff? He looked like a legitimate, he looked like a scary dude.
It's racist.
No, I'm being serious. That's how he comes out.
Yeah, I know.
He instills fear.
No, I like it. I like it a lot.
Yeah. He looks like a warrior type of thing. But given everything that's going on currently, it's scary to see someone that intimidating.
Yeah, especially when you could look back at old WWE archives and look at what Jinder used to be and look at him now.
Yeah.
It's pretty intimidating.
And you tweak that presentation and you have a bona fide heel.
Agreed.
But, all right, so we can see where AJ Styles, he can bring it the prestige of the United States Championship. That leaves Kevin Owens to move up into the WWE title picture. Now, what happens if he remains heel and then goes along with Rusev as a tag team?
I feel like that's just like League of Nations light. But it would be better because it has Kevin Owens in it. And the better part of the League of
You could easily make it like
Nations.
a conspiracy theory, a la Miz and R-Truth back in 2011. Like, they're against us. The management's against us. Shane McMahon's against us and stuff. And just have them.
Yeah, there's a possibility. I could see that happening. But we got to move up a little bit. We're running low on time, and we really need to get to this.
The
big topic
next
that we're
one
talking.
that we would like to talk about is Naomi. Like, oh my God.
Okay, so I didn't watch SmackDown, so I'm still lost when you're saying it.
It's not just, oh my God, like, oh my God, what happened to Naomi? It's like, what's not happening with Naomi? She still has no number one contender. There is a fatal 5-way elimination match determining the number one contender at Battleground. So she has to wait 2 weeks to find a number one contender. She has not had a legitimate rival this entire reign. How frustrating must this be for her?
Yeah, I could see the obvious frustration with that. But I honestly don't know how... I don't know what's going on with the booking at this point. Like, it seems like they don't know what to do, and then they're just going to throw something random, and it might not be good.
I'd rather Charlotte would have just been named, the number one contender. Or have Charlotte versus Natalya that night determine the number one contender. So this way, have Natalya win.
Unless they're prepping for like a call up from NXT or like a debut or return or something like that.
They're not going about it the right way then. Because this is the first, second, third... This would be the fourth 5-way women's match we've seen in the past 2 months. Because we had the number one contendership, which led to the Money in the Bank. We had 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches. And then we're going to have this Battleground match.
Yeah, it seems like I feel like the writing and the booking for this isn't really doing well. I'm not entirely sure. It's definitely a mystery, and that's definitely something we got to keep an eye on for
Charlotte
next week.
should verse Naomi for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
No, I agree with you on that.
At SummerSlam.
But I feel like they might be saving that for SummerSlam.
Yeah,
that's probably why.
She should have had some kind of placeholder feud then. Maybe Natalya or Becky Lynch,
Something. But who knows? Maybe something might yield results for next week.
Yeah. The third thing, there's actually 2 things I want to talk about. I don't know if we'll have the time for it. One thing I want to talk about, that I feel like we should talk about, is how over is Breezango?
Okay.
Breezango did an excellent Walker Texas Ranger impression.
Oh, God.
I just wanted to mention this. They did an awesome Walker Texas Ranger impression with Chuck Norris down in San Antonio, questioning the Hype Bros, seeing if they were the ones behind the attack. We still don't know who attacked Breezango, but I don't want to find out right now because it is fantastic. Next week, they're doing an X-Files parody.
Yes. Oh, God. Now I need to watch SmackDown. No.
They said the Fashion Files, the truth is not H.
All right.
I just wanted to mention that. That is great job on Breezango. I am a huge Breezango mark. If they come out with a Breezango tank top, I am getting it. I have too many t-shirts. I need tank tops. I would love that. Please, WWE. But now for one of the bigger things that's developing. I just wanted to mention that. Sami Zayn and Mike Kanellis.
You say that with such enthusiasm. What happened, buddy?
Pretty much Sami Zayn goes to... Maria Kanellis tries to approach the locker room asking for Sami Zayn. And then Chad Gable comes out and is like, oh, you mean Sammy Wow Wow. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it either. But it was just like, oh, it's something they do in the dressing room. But Gable tells Zayn. Zayn goes to find the Kanellises, and they want an apology. The Kanellises wanted an apology, and Sami Zayn's like, oh, I don't know why I'm giving you another apology. Blah, 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 blah. I don't think you deserve another apology. I don't even know what I'm apologizing. I'm just trying to wrestle, which brings me to ask, what do you guys even do here? Because you guys haven't wrestled yet. And then Mike Kanellis proceeds to smash a flower vase, over Sami Zayn's head after Maria slaps him across the face. Now, presuming this feud doesn't happen at Battleground.
Okay.
Do you think it should, first off?
What, at Battleground or at SummerSlam?
Yes.
Probably kickoff. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about this.
SummerSlam's going to be loaded. That's the reason.
Yeah, I know, and that's why that's one reason why I have mixed feelings. The other mixed feeling is that I really like both guys, but considering that there's probably going to be a bunch more things I'd rather see on the main show, they're probably going to be on kickoff.
Kickoff is SummerSlam?
Kickoff for probably both. I mean, it depends on how Battleground is going to shape up.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely kickoff for Battleground. Like, I can't imagine it being on the main show unless something incredible happens next week.
Well, Mike Bennett has to... Oh, I'm sorry, Mike Kanellis.
Well, it's okay. I think for those of you who don't know, his real name is Mike Bennett. They just put Kanellis because that's what Maria's original last name is, and then it just... So that way it'd be an easier translation. Oh, this is...
Maria's husband.
Exactly, because they are husband and wife in real life.
Oh my god.
But Bennett wouldn't work well, so...
I think Sami Zayn and Bennett... Zayn and Kanellis should fight on the main card. I feel like they deserve it. I feel like it would do well as an introduction to Kanellis to what he can do. I feel like that's necessary.
Well, I feel like the introduction would be on Smackdown. And then they would actually have like a real wrestling match. Zayn versus Kanellis on like the pre-show or something like that.
I don't think the pre-show would be best because if they're trying to build up Kanellis, the Kanellises to maybe take over the mid-card and women's division because both of them would be tremendous assets to it. I feel like having them on the main card would be better for the casual viewers.
Yeah, okay, I can see your point on that.
But how many more losses can Sami Zayn afford?
I mean, at this point, it's just like a Dolph Ziggler. He's starting to get Dolph Ziggler syndrome. It's really bad.
The only problem is Sami Zayn never won a world title.
Yeah, I know. That's what's really bad.
I know. I feel like
I don't know. I feel like I feel like he needs to go back to NXT. I hate saying that, but I feel like that's...
I'm not a Sami Zayn fan. I never was.
I like Zayn. The problem is that he's just a workhorse and he'll never be a champion.
Yes.
And that's just...
Like Dean Ambrose.
Well, Dean Ambrose, but yeah, but it's like light Daniel Bryan. The problem, the thing with Daniel Bryan is that he was clearly the underdog in whatever he was doing. You can look at Sami Zayn and be like, he's kind of an underdog and kind of not an underdog.
Sami Zayn looks like he should be selling hot dogs in the stands.
Hey, don't make fun of him. He's a good wrestler.
No, I understand he's a good wrestler. I was just never interested in his matches. The only match I was ever interested in with him was against Kevin Owens and against Nakamura.
Okay, I was gonna hit you if you didn't say Nakamura. Okay, I was gonna hit you if you didn't say Nakamura because that was the best Nakamura match that happened on WWE.
Sami Zayn though is bland for me. I feel like Kanellis could do more because he has an intriguing character.
Yeah, it's definitely intriguing. Definitely something we got to keep an eye on.
Definitely. All right, Audio Marks. We're gonna take a quick break.
Do you want to talk about NXT quickly, or
neither of us watched NXT, unfortunately, and there was a lot that happened on NXT. We apologize, Audio Marks.
That's on us.
That is on us.
We had busy weeks this week.
Just a quick recap of the show. Authors of Pain defeated Heavy Machinery in the main event for the NXT Tag Team titles. Johnny Gargano returned and then addressed the actions done to him by Tommaso Ciampa earlier in the year for the NXT TakeOver Chicago. Bold prediction, Gargano wins the NXT Championship by the end of the year, so when Tommaso comes back March 2018, they feud for it at the WrestleMania TakeOver.
Okay, anything else, buddy?
Oh, and Bobby Fish made his debut against Aleister Black. Yes, former ROH World Tag Champ, former IWGP Junior Tag Champ, if I remember correctly, and ROH World Champion made his debut.
World Champion? Or I know he was television champion for ROH. Was he a world champion for ROH?
He defeated Adam Cole, if I remember. Or was that...
No, that's Kyle O'Reilly.
Oh,
that was his tag team. That was his tag team. television champion. I know my ROH. Don't you disrespect ROH.
I'm sorry. I thought the other guy got
No, that's the no.
Oh, okay.
But
sorry.
one half of Red Dragon, man, that's in NXT right now. Ooh. Is Kyle gonna be there?
I don't know. They were scouting Kyle O'Reilly, but Kyle O'Reilly is, I believe, he's taking a hiatus from wrestling to figure out what he wants to do.
All right. For right now, we're gonna kick it to our. We're gonna go to break, and then we're gonna get back to our main topic for the week. That's still a mystery. We're back, Audio Marks.
Oh, did you guys miss us?
You're such a dork. God.
Woo!
Anyway, so our main topic was a little bit of a mystery this week.
I'm going to give a shout out, actually. No one got it per se, but there was this one Instagrammer that did put in a lot of effort, and she was close. She said WWE.
Well, hold on. We got to lay out the groundwork for this because you keep doing this. You want to give out the shout out, but you don't. Anyway, we put out a couple pictures on our Instagram that went to our Facebook page and our Twitter, and it was basically a mystery for what our topic was going to be this week. And we had pictures of AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Austin Aries, Bobby
Kim.
Roode, Gail Kim, and Caval.
Low-key. So we've been giving out hints this past couple of weeks for a shout out. Now, no one necessarily got it. However, this one Instagram user did come close with two separate comments. She said WWE and Mr. TNA.
Yeah, they're pretty close.
They were very close, but they weren't in the same sentence. But we will give her the shout out anyways. Shout out to LK_entertainment. Now,
congratulations.
Yes, they were close with the guess. The topic of the week, given everything that's happened this past week, is WWE wrestlers who were formerly TNA wrestlers. So it's going to be TNA wrestlers who have thrived and those who have fallen in WWE.
But then went to
they originally were TNA stars.
Yeah, they were all TNA stars that came to WWE. Yeah, okay. Sorry.
Different measures of successes. Now, we have three who we believe were the biggest flops in WWE from TNA, and three of the biggest hits from TNA to WWE.
I just got the episode now. Hits and miss TNA to WWE.
Oh, that sounds a lot easier.
Yeah, that's a lot better than what I originally had, and we're not going to talk about what it was. Anyway, so we're going to start with our first miss for TNA to WWE, and unfortunately, it is Gail Kim.
Gail Kim, necessarily you wouldn't put on this list, but given how successful she was in TNA versus WWE, given how they were somewhat similar.
Was she ever a champion in WWE?
She was a champion in her debut match, WWE Women's Championship.
And that was her only championship?
That was her only championship, but that was back in 2002.
Ooh.
Yes.
Dang, 2002?
Yes.
How long was she with the company?
She was 2002 to 2004, then left for TNA. And this is where I consider really TNA then to WWE.
Okay.
TNA, she had huge success by managing America's Most Wanted and then becoming the...
their women's champion.
Yes.
That they called Knockouts.
Yes, she became the TNA women's knockout champion. She was the inaugural one.
The inaugural.
Yes, she was the very first one, and now is tied for the most reigns with Angelina Love at 6 reigns. Former TNA.
So she's had more championships with TNA than WWE.
Yes. And then she returned 2008 to 2011, but she didn't really do much. The biggest thing that she did of note was, at least that I remember recently, was her storyline with Daniel Bryan and the Bella Twins, where she was revealed to be the girlfriend of Daniel Bryan. Now, after that, she left in 2011 and came back to TNA and went on to be successful. Now, here's the thing. She was in WWE during the first time, 2002 to 2004. She was in there when the focus was more wrestling, I can say. 2002, you had Trish Stratus, you had Molly Holly, Lita, Victoria, But back in 2000...
Well, it was also like the dying period of like the Attitude Era, so there was like this kind of like downward period for wrestling in general.
Yes, but then look at 2008 to 2011, she was there as...
a diva.
Arm candy.
Ugh. I mean... And that sucks because she is a fantastic wrestler.
Yeah,
and she's won 6 titles for TNA. Now, whether you believe
6 singles titles.
6 singles titles, whether you want to believe that these titles mean something or not, because this is wrestling, of course, but that still means something.
Yeah, she is a TNA Hall of Famer, I believe. She was inaugurated into the TNA Hall of Fame, and we're also saying this because she is retiring. She's retiring this year.
Man.
Yeah, she was retiring this year.
To me, she had so much potential, and for some reason did so much better in TNA, and I feel like is not going to get the proper dues in WWE.
Yeah, you see the wasted potential that WWE had for this TNA wrestler, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to say it, because here's the thing, she wasn't necessarily unsuccessful compared to her other...
Compared to the other people that are going to be on this list.
Yes, look at...
well, hold on.
Look at Gail Kim. She was also a WWE Women's Champion.
But only one time.
But she was... here's the thing.
How long was her reign?
Her reign? Her reign for WWE Women's Champion was... She won it on the... June 30th, 2003. Episode of Raw. It was a battle royal.
Yeah.
She won that. She held it for 4 weeks.
Okay, so basically a month.
Yes.
Yeah. I really hate to say this, but that's really wasted potential.
Yes.
Especially for what she did afterwards, becoming a 6-time women's champion for a different company.
And you would think...
And at the time, basically its rival.
Yes.
And you could still have that argument that it's still its rival today, but I mean, there's just so much wasted potential, and
she gave WWE a chance once again, and then she flopped worse, in my opinion, because here's the thing: she was caught off guard with her release because of cost cutting, and they want to take women's division into a new direction, and that was led to the Divas era. It's back in 2004. But, she was probably our least flop on this list because she still succeeded with a women's championship.
That's true.
Now,
so we're gonna move on to our first hit.
Yes, I feel like the third most successful hit, TNA to WWE, would be Bobby Roode.
Man, what? That was just an utter shock that he would just come to WWE like this. Not in a million years would I have thought that.
Bobby Roode was definitely a surprise. I know he was feeling a lot of discomfort and a lot of anger, and he was just overall upset with TNA.
Well, especially with the time. It was in that weird time, like post-Hogan era. They really lost a lot of what made TNA TNA. They were going back and forth on different channels and networks.
Yes.
And they really still, and to me, still, they don't have a real picture. They don't have a clear picture of what they want to present TNA to the world, or Global Force, or Impact Wrestling, or whatever you want to call it.
Their image right now is their world champion being suspended for domestic...
Okay, that's... Okay. That's a topic for another time. You don't say that like that on here. That is not funny. Even
Oh,
though
you're
me,
laughing.
even though me and you are laughing about that right now, it is not funny.
All right, I'll hit the one for me.
Okay, all right.
I am Taboo.
Yeah, okay.
But Bobby Roode is doing very successful. Now, in TNA, he was a Triple Crown winner.
He was a Triple Crown in the sense that he won their television title or the King of the Mountain or whatever you want to call it.
King of the Mountain. He was
He was their world champion, and he was a tag team champion.
Now, here's the thing. He was a 6-time world tag team champion with James Storm as a part of Beer Money. And then they are the longest reigning champions in TNA history. Him and James Storm. Now, couple that with TNA World Heavyweight Championship and being the longest reigning heavyweight champion in their company's history. He holds 2 records in that company for longest reigns. And now translate that success. Right now, he's doing fantastic work as
the current NXT world champion. So, yeah, I think that his success within TNA translated very well into WWE.
And I don't think he ever really got injured much, too. His style is very...
No, it's very close to the chest and, like, very safe and stuff like that. So
very old school.
Oh, yeah, definitely old school.
Now, the reason why he's not higher up on the list, given his accomplishments, is one, he's still in developmental territory, and second, he's not as electric as he was in TNA, I don't believe.
No, because I think his electric, like that presence, the it factor that he calls it sometimes, he didn't really get that until like the latter of his career with TNA.
Yes, with Beer Money and then translating that with the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, I feel like his electricity it's a little different because of the Glorious gimmick.
Yeah, but still, the Glorious gimmick is very good. And I think as soon as he gets into the main roster, that's going to translate even better.
Oh, it'll translate fine. I feel like, though, for the hardcore fan base, his matches aren't doing as well as...
I think the hardcore base is missing Beer Money a lot. I know I am. I miss Beer Money so much.
I enjoy Bobby Roode. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy him as a singles competitor.
Yeah, I know. I enjoy him too, but he's such a better tag team person, though, in my opinion.
I got you. I feel like Bobby Roode's, though, doing a fine job. I feel like if he gets called up, given that he is 38...
There's a possibility of him being called up. There's also a possibility of him just permanently staying in TNA. I'm not TNA. In NXT. Stop it. Okay, I get that one. Mm-hmm. But that he stays in NXT and that, he's just there to build up new guys after he loses the title. There's that possibility. But we got to move up because this episode's running a little low.
It's fine.
Sorry, Marks. Our second flop, second miss,
Kaval,
aka low key for those of you who are indie marks.
Oh my God,
but Kaval, for those of you who remember in those awful times of,
NXT.
Early NXT, of it being a reality show, Kaval was the winner of the second season of NXT
back in 2010. Now this was the.
I also just a quick side note. I actually picked him to win.
No, I did too.
I did not get my the first one when they first did it. I picked David Otunga.
I did as well, yeah.
But
no, actually, I picked Justin Gabriel.
We were both wrong.
Yes, we were.
But we got the nexus out of that. When the second season happened and Kaval won, very happy about it.
Yes.
But then, wow, just so sad.
Here's the thing. Let me run down his list of accomplishments back in TNA as low key. As low key in TNA, he was an NWA World Tag Team Championship 3 times. He was an X Division Championship 5 times. And not only that, I'm going to throw this out there. Ring of Honor, he was a world champion. He was the first Ring of Honor world champion.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and he had probably one of the best matches ever with Samoa Joe.
Now look
for
at
that title, because that was treated as an MMA fight than it was a wrestling match.
Yes,
that was the first time it ever happened like that.
In WWE, the only thing he did was win the inaugural. He won the second, NXT season 2,
and he kissed Layla, and that was about it.
Well, that's another reason why he's like the second flop. Not the first flop, because when he kissed Layla.
You're such a dork.
Yo, I loved Lay Cool.
Yeah,
You know.
it was a pretty sweet heel team that they had. But I mean, he would have been perfect for the cruiserweight division.
He would have been perfect nowadays with the more focus on more athletic wrestlers. The thing is with Low Ki, which is very upsetting, is that he had a very successful TNA career, transferred that over to WWE, and he had a great style. The only thing is his presentation was all wrong. You know, he lost. He only won one time, if I remember correctly, and that was a fluke against Dolph Ziggler. And then in NXT, before it became the brand it was known as today, it was a reality show.
Quote unquote reality show.
Now, if you won the season, you can choose a title opportunity, a title match at any pay-per-view of your choosing, a la the Money in the Bank. The previous winner, Wade Barrett, cashed his in at Night of Champions back in 2010. And he did that 2010.
Randy Orton, I believe.
It was a 5-pack or 6-pack challenge. Excuse me. It was in a 6-pack challenge.
Okay, all right.
Caval issued it against Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental title, and then lost.
I honestly don't know what to say because it frustrates me because these are new people and they're trying to build up new stars to surpass the old guard. They're always trying to do that. I mean, now they're doing that, and they're doing a fantastic job of doing it.
Yes.
But back then, they just didn't, and it frustrated me every single time Caval would be in a match because you would know that he would lose.
Yes, and like Low Ki he was very successful. You know, he had a lot of hype. He was like Daniel Bryan.
He was like CM Punk. He was like a lot of the guys from Ring of Honor.
Yes, and
that came into WWE.
And back in that time, you did have Daniel Bryan and you did have CM Punk, two wrestlers who were fairly successful at that time. Daniel Bryan was the United States champion, and CM Punk was a former. He was a 3-time World Heavyweight Championship champion at that time. 3.
Are you counting the ECW one?
No, he was World Heavyweight Championship 3 times. World Heavyweight Champion. He won it against Edge with the Money in the Bank, and then he beat Jeff Hardy twice. Back in 2009.
He cashed it in on Jeff Hardy, so he still retained that title, so that's 2 times. He was a 3rd time with the WWE title.
No. So he beat Edge with the first one.
Okay, we're getting sidetracked. Sorry. We're getting sidetracked.
I'll explain it to you.
Yeah, after the show.
Yes, because CM Punk cashed in 2008 against Edge.
Dude, seriously?
Yes. All right. But Low Ki is not our biggest flop, though. But we will get to our biggest flops after this next one. Our second biggest success story has to be Samoa Joe.
You're such a dork when you say it like that.
It's Samoa Joe.
But anyway, yes, it is Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe right now is white hot for the WWE Universal title. There's no denying that. And if you are denying that, I'm sorry to say you're wrong.
You are a stupid idiot. Exactly. So let me go over Samoa Joe's accomplishments. Samoa Joe, well, first in Ring of Honor, he held the World Heavyweight Championship in Ring of Honor for 21 months. May 2003 to December 2004. Upon joining TNA in June 2005, he embarked on a 19-month-long undefeated streak and held the TNA World Heavyweight Championship, the X Division Championship 5 times, the World Tag Team Championship twice, the TNA Television Championship once. He was a TNA Triple Crown and a TNA Grand Slam winner. That is excellent stats. You got to keep that in mind.
That's
that is
fantastic stock right there. Like, if you're going to build a promotion, you build it around guys like Samoa Joe.
He is credible. He has the main event experience to back it up. And then he goes on to become the first ever 2-time NXT champion when he debuted with the company in NXT 2015. And now look where he's at. He is main eventing against Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship and being booked as a monster. This man is a success story.
He's a success story, and that he's going to have a big future. He's not stopping. He has the same thing from the first time I saw him back in TNA that he has now. Like, it's just incredible how much stamina, how much power, how much life he still has. It's incredible.
And let me just note this. Pro Wrestling Illustrated, he had Feud of the Year 2007 against Kurt Angle, WWE and TNA Hall of Famer. He was the most popular wrestler in 2006. He has 2 5-star matches to his name.
Yeah, one of them has to do with...
three. I'm sorry. 3 5-star matches.
Oh, I'm sorry for that.
Nope.
At least one of them that I'm aware of was him, AJ Styles, and Daniels in a triple threat.
Yes, that was in 2005. 2004 was CM Punk.
Yep, that's right.
And then Kenta Kobashi in 2005.
That one I don't know, but...
That one was brutal. I did watch that match. That was an excellent match. That was a fight, and he brought that intensity with Kenta Kobashi, who was known as a very hard-hitting... He was strong style before strong style was a thing.
Well, yeah, but just like Caval in the sense, they reinvented wrestling. You talk about Caval being the first Ring of Honor champion. It was against Samoa Joe.
Really?
Yeah, it was. And
I thought Jerry Lynn was in that match.
No. I don't think
it was
so.
Jerry Lynn and Christopher, or maybe that was the first Ring of Honor main event.
That's maybe, yeah. But I'm pretty sure against, for the world title, it was Joe and Caval. Or low-key.
Maybe we should call him low-key.
Low-key. Sorry. I'm so used to calling him Caval because I watched the season of NXT first before I knew him as low-key.
Yes.
But anyway, low-key helped define that style with Samoa Joe of that MMA style into wrestling.
Oh, yeah. He was...
And so you could look back at his matches he's had with Samoa Joe, and they're fantastic. You could look at whatever match he had with... Any of the X Division stars in TNA, and they were fantastic.
He fought, Low-key fought Samoa Joe in Joe's official ROH debut.
All right.
But he won the ROH championship by defeating Daniels, Spanky, and Doug Williams in a 4-way Iron Man match.
Okay.
But, going back to Joe is excellent right now. He's been taking it to Brock Lesnar. He's forced himself into the Universal title picture with credibility to back him up. Hand-selected by Triple H to debut. That has to be going for him as well. Destroying the Architect, Seth Rollins, and Finn Balor. He's doing wonders right now. It's only a matter of time before he wins his first title on the main roster.
And also, he was also the first winner, along with Finn Balor, for the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic.
Oh, yes, you are right about that. I forgot.
So there's definitely potential for Samoa Joe.
Definitely. By the end of the year, he should be a Universal Championship.
Yeah, I agree with that. So our very last flop, or our first flop for number 1 seed is...
Austin Aries.
Unfortunately, it has to be Austin Aries. This makes me really sad.
Because here's the thing. Austin Aries, this past week, was released by WWE. In the past 2 weeks, Austin Aries was released by WWE.
Do we know why yet, or no? I still feel like we don't know.
So Austin Aries apparently had a bad attitude. He didn't like being looked at as just a cruiserweight. He did not like his placement in the company, and he was giving off a very bad attitude. So when Austin Aries went to go, this is what I've read up on. My sources have given me that WWE was more than happy to give Austin Aries his release when Austin Aries requested it.
Now, here's my question: before we get into what he has done and hasn't, what he did do in TNA and what he didn't do in WWE, do you think that we're going to see him in Ring of Honor or New Japan or back in TNA or whatever we're going to call it?
I don't think we're going to see him back in TNA. He had the same mentality as Samoa Joe and Bobby Roode, and AJ Styles for that matter. Where all of them they felt like it was just a hectic. It just wasn't it just wasn't a good work environment. It was very toxic. There was pay cuts, there was the budgeting, and checks were bouncing and stuff, and they weren't enjoying what they were doing. So he left before Bobby Roode and then debuted before Bobby Roode.
Yeah, that's true.
Austin Aries,
he would have had so much potential for both the cruiserweights and for the regular main event roster, in my opinion. From everything that I have seen of Austin Aries do, I remember Austin Aries being an X Division champion and then creating their version of Money in the Bank through Option C, which is handing over the X Division title belt so they could get a world championship opportunity. And he got it.
No, I think that's more of like a King of the Ring.
Well,
because here's the thing, you would have to do it at Destination X, their pay-per-view.
Well, no,
Yes.
No, if you get option C, I think is when you can transfer the title at any time. No, what?
Option C is a concept where the current X Division champion may voluntarily vacate the championship in exchange for a World Heavyweight Championship match at that year's Destination X event.
Okay. Calm down, Mr. Nerd. Calm down.
Speaking of what,
but he was the first person to do that, and the second. I remember he did the second time, and the second time was more like impactful.
Yes,
because he did it as Suicide, and then revealed himself to be that in front of Hulk Hogan, and it was funny just seeing Hulk Hogan with a derp face going.
Yes. Oh my God. But here's Aries' accomplishments: TNA World Heavyweight Champion, 6-time and longest reigning X Division Champion, 1-time TNA World Tag Team Champion, first ever 2-time ROH World Tag Team Champion, and a 1-time ROH World Tag Team Champion. This man's a Triple Crown winner in TNA. And you want to know what he did in NXT and in WWE?
Nothing.
He lost to Neville 3 pay-per-views in a row.
God. They had another great main eventer, and again, just like they did with Caval, Low Key or whatever you want to call him, Low Key. Again, just the missed opportunity you had with Austin Aries. Austin Aries helped build some of the best stars that we know today. He helped build guys like CM Punk. He helped guys build Samoa Joe and AJ Styles in Ring of Honor. And in TNA, he had a fantastic run and build that company from scratch. Well, not from scratch, but like rebuilding their X Division when it was like nothing.
Yes.
So the fact that he's getting this kind of, I don't want to say disrespect because I feel like that's not really fair on WWE's end. Mm-hmm. But not getting his just due in WWE is making me really mad.
Oh, yeah. Austin Aries is certainly talented. I do feel like he would have a bad attitude given like everything that he's accomplished and where his position was in the company.
I feel like if he stayed in NXT, though, just stayed there, he would have been like... He would have been NXT champion.
I wouldn't agree with that. I don't know.
There would have been a possibility.
Given all the new stars that came up in that past year, I feel like I don't know if he would be on NXT. He might have challenged for it, definitely, but I don't believe he would have won it.
We could have had Austin Aries versus Nakamura,
Did have that.
Like a proper one.
True.
Because I feel like Austin could have done it.
Yeah, but Austin,
and unfortunately for him and for the other two, they just didn't have it.
No, they did not.
And unfortunately, that's just what happens with some of these guys.
But at least the other people, Gail Kim won WWE Women's Championship. Caval won WWE NXT Season 2. Austin Aries had nothing to his name.
Again, just another... It's even worse. Like, that's the worst of it.
That's why we're saying he had the biggest potential, but he became the biggest flop in WWE from TNA. However, I think you all know who our final Marvel is, our number one success story. He is the success story from TNA to WWE. He is the phenomenal AJ Styles.
Mr. TNA.
Mr. TNA.
The first X Division champion.
Yeah.
I'm 100% sure he was the first X Division champion.
I'm going to run down his accomplishments if you don't mind.
Oh, go ahead.
NWA World Heavyweight Championship 3 times and TNA World Heavyweight Championship twice. First X Division Championship, which he has held 6 times. First professional wrestler ever to complete the TNA Triple Crown 5 times and the TNA Grand Slam twice. He is the first ever TNA contracted wrestler to be ranked number 1 on the PWI 500 list. He also won the ROH World Tag Team Championships and the ROH Pure Championships. He has won the IWGP Heavyweight Championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling and became the leader of the Bullet Club. He has then appeared, and in this past year and a half of him being in WWE, he's debuted at the Royal Rumble. He has became the WWE Championship and champion and the United States champion currently. He is also the Wrestler of the Year, voted both by PWI and Wrestling Observer Newsletter in 2016.
And he beat John Cena clean.
That never happens
to guys from TNA. That doesn't happen from guys anywhere outside of WWE. And this happened to Mr. TNA. You can't make that stuff up, ladies and gentlemen. You can't.
Ooh, I'm tired. Wow. Also, NWA World Tag Team Champion 4 times and 2-time TNA World Tag Champion. Wow.
And he's still going.
And he's still putting on phenomenal matches.
I can't even I can't wrap my mind around the fact that we still have AJ Styles in WWE.
This is an amazing once-in-a-lifetime talent.
They have the face of the company.
They do. He is an excellent talent. Phenomenal matches. Impeccable pedigree and accomplishments he comes with. You cannot get any better than that. He is top Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe does have a similar record, but AJ Styles has the record. He has the accomplishments.
Just a quick little side story. When watching TNA for the first time, I might have began watching for Hulk Hogan because that's in the time frame of watching TNA. But I stayed because of AJ Styles.
That is something we can both agree on.
Like, there's just something about AJ that I think just brings out, literally, and just not being any pun here or anything, the mark out of all of us. There's just something about AJ that does that.
Fantastic wrestler, fantastic pedigree, fantastic, just everything is just amazing and phenomenal. Everything he does. And to see him thrive in WWE when everyone was wondering if he would, he became the TNA guy that can be a WWE guy.
And there's bright futures for anyone else who's in TNA or was from TNA or anything like that could go to WWE and have good success.
Such very amazing, this wrestler. Very phenomenal. And he is our biggest success story. And again, congratulations to him for winning the United States Championship at MSG. Now, the reason why I'm so hung up on that is, one, it was at a live event. Here's the biggest thing. Madison Square Garden. You know how amazing that is to win a championship at Madison Square Garden?
I can only imagine in my dreams what that could be like.
Like, that is... People say that main eventing WrestleMania would be their goal. If I was ever to be a wrestler, yes, main eventing WrestleMania would be one of my goals. For me personally, winning a championship at Madison Square Garden would be the pinnacle, because that's where it all began with WWE. Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan.
That's where
Sheik.
That's where everything started, and that AJ can put himself in that whole. I won a title at Madison Square Garden. Not a lot of wrestlers can really say that.
Exactly.
But that's our list, guys. Do you have anything else to say, my friend? Because you look like you still have a lot, and unfortunately, we still have no time.
I'm catching my breath, but just a phenomenal list. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hope you guys agreed with our picks. If you did not agree with our picks, let us know. Comment on our Instagram, our Twitter, Facebook.
And also email us. We have an email at marksforlifepodcast@gmail.com. Please email us. And just for those who have a thing about this list that may not agree.
And that's the bottom line, 'cause Stone Cold said so.
Thank you, everyone, for staying tuned for our podcast. Special shout out to the Sachem Public Library for their continued use of their equipment and space. If you would like to continue listening to us, please follow us on our following social media accounts: Twitter at Marks for Life Pod, Instagram at Marks for Life Podcast, and our Facebook group Marks for Life Podcast. And please continue to support us through Patreon and SoundCloud at Marks for Life Podcast. Until next time, Audio Marks.